Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So good to see you all. We're doing another version of the Imaginarium Theater on my own account, and this is when I love the Imaginarium Theater. When I'm allowed to take my cryo teams in there, you know that we're going crazy. Obviously, I actually chose one of my friends who has an S2. Oh, it's C2 in this game. C2 Mavawika. And just as a disclosure, this is my first time using her, so I had no idea what I was doing. So for all you metagamers out there, don't kill me. Chose a companion event here. We went with Shenhe. Scuffier I thought about choosing, but I felt like it would be better to have Shenhe because she's a better overall buffer. Scuffier would be better only for my Skirk, which the goal was to use her on the last floor because that's against the enemy that is weak to cryo attacks and actually allows you to do the most damage. My first team, I chose Child, Risley, Rosaria, and what is this guy's name again? Dahlia. Sorry, he's so new, I forgot completely. He's pretty much just there just for the shielding and stuff. I did level 90 him. I don't think he was level 90 in this run, but he's literally just builds him on HP. He revives your teammate if they die, and pretty much HP, give him a shield, survives 1 or 2 hits, and that's about it. He's just quality of life. Floor 1, always really easy, so I just skipped it. You know, no one really wants to watch me go through the first couple floors here. For that second one right there, I chose Farina for the overall buffing, and then we went with a free cachet because of course there is always an opportunity to get some vigor back and or other goodies like getting double choices. A companion quest, you know that we chose Ganyu because I felt like Ganyu was going to be needed for that one tower defense style floor wherever you just use her and her skill to kind of aggro the enemies. She's perfect for that floor, so I use her there every single time without fail. Not to mention she's C2, so she gets 2 charges of the skill. Super easy. But for that floor, super easy again. We use Child, Rosaria. This time it was Lenny? I forget his name, and Risley. Because he was one of the characters preset from them. I don't own that character. I use them from the game's preset selection, and he was not built too well. I had a little bit of a choice here between gaming and Escoffier. I choose gaming there because I felt like gaming was going to be the better option since there's an enemy that comes up who is going to require pyro. Here I also had a tough choice between, I forgot, Chevreuse is her name, and the Pyro Traveler, but Pyro Traveler is built really well. My set is currently for Mavawika being rested on him, so he has a very good build. But I felt like he was going to be better than Chevreuse because I don't have an Electro DPS. After getting a refresh of the cards because I did not like what was there, I chose a surprise, keen choice, and I moved on to the next companion random here because obviously getting as many characters on my belt as possible allows me to have more options. Arlecchino was the no-brainer choice because it was going to be coming up to a boss literally next where I need Pyro to shred the shield, and then of course after that a damage dealer if it's not the Pyro one, somebody else. This one was tough because C3 Yelan would be very, very helpful for pretty much anybody, but Nuvalet is C6 and I feel like he would be that carrying factor for pretty much any floor that he's on. So even though I kind of wanted to see 3 Yelan, I felt like Nuvalet would just be better overall. So here it was relatively straightforward. It was just shred his shield to the Pyro, use everyone's skill and ult. Once the Pyro shield was gone, we're going to switch over to Nuvalet and use his skill and ult, and then charge attack until he's dead. Pretty simplistic, pretty easy, not much to it. But considering he was C6 too, I mean, I would have loved to just use a C6. This is one thing I wish they would allow us for us to take in 2, 1, or 3 characters instead of always making us choose 4 because it is so restrictive when they do it like that. Here again, Mona, really good buffer, but I chose Bennett because I felt like he would be a better healer, and then he also buffs for attack-based scalers. So I wanted to refresh here because I didn't get anything good. And after 3 refreshes, we finally got a mystery cachet, and I decided to choose the selectable effects increased by 1 when choosing a mystery cachet event, because I didn't want to choose the other one that would basically no longer allow me to take any event characters. It would give me one of the 5 or 6 that are chosen possibilities, and then it would make sure that the rest are not applicable, and I didn't want to handicap myself like that. This one, super easy. You guys have seen me do this a dozen times by now if you've been keeping up with the entire Imaginarium Theater way that it works. Ganyu is amazing for this one because you put down her skill, it aggroes them, and then you just shoot them with your bow and they aggro to you. So as long as they keep getting aggro to you by either your attacks or your skill, they won't attack the middle defense tower no matter what. So it's an easy clear with the star, just have a bow character, and honestly Ganyu being perfect because she can put down her skill, it's the pinnacle of comfort as long as you know what you're doing and how to manipulate the characters. Now always make sure you choose the robots for that one or you're not going to have fun. Now for the character chosen, I chose Chi-Chi because I felt like she was the better of the two options and she would be easier wasted on this floor here because I wasn't going to have any time clearing with my Arlecchino and Ganyu doing melts. I just felt like with Bennett, this was going to be too easy of a clear. I really just needed a third unit that I could waste, and I felt like Chevreuse could be more valuable since she has attacking, she also has healing, and she does electro and pyro damage buffing. I felt like because I had a C5, not a C6 Bennett here, he would be more beneficial. This one was a pretty obvious one for me. I wanted my C3 Skirk because the floor 10 boss requires cryo in order to pass. Now this one was a little bit tough for me. I decided to go with Mona here because again, I'm going to need Hydra application for that final boss, but Mavuika is C2 R1, so I did highly consider putting her in there, but I decided not to. Now I started to put together my Skirk team here for the final boss, adding Escoffier as well, and this is where things got crazy. I sat here for a good while determining which one I wanted. C6 Ayato, C6 Xingqiu, C6 Barba, C3 Yalan, C6 Ayaka, C6 Chevreuse, oh sorry, she's C1, or C0. But I decided Yalan would be the better overall here because she would be able to be used on that 10th floor, and she would also be very powerful at C3 R1 with good stats on any of the other floors. I also went for the card that buffs cryo and hydro reactions, frozen to be exact, because I felt like that was something I knew I'd be using at the end, so I might as well get a head start into it now. I didn't want to keep going with it though, because of the sad fact that I didn't have enough flowers, and I wanted to make sure that I'd be able to have enough cards, or rather flowers, so I could get enough cards, so I could actually continue to move forward and make sure that I never had a situation where I was using characters that I didn't want to just to fill in the 4-person requirement, rather than being able to know that I'm going to be able to clear with relative ease with the teams that I want, setting up the next floors for the next characters that I want to use. This one was pretty self-explanatory for me. I decided to go with Mavuika again because she is C2, R1, and even though Pyro isn't going to be needed for the rest of this entire Imaginarium Theater run, she is C2, R1 and the #1 DPS in the game, even greater than Skirk. She is 2 compared to Mavuika, who was #1 in the game. She was going to be able to clear no matter what, and she pretty much proved herself right here, because even against a pyro enemy, without Sitlali, without melt reactions, just straight vaporize, she was doing work. I mean, look at the numbers. Bam, 300s and 500Ks. I mean, that is insane, considering they have pyro resistance, because they are a pyro monster. That was pretty impressive. Not to mention, guys, I don't know how to use her. Like, this is the first time, what you're seeing right here is the first time that I've ever used a Mavuika that was built outside of a trial run. So I don't even know how to play her. I don't know her playstyle. I don't know her kit. I don't know what I should be doing to activate her. I was purely trying to get cryo and hydro reactions if I had cryo, but hydro reactions and then vaporize them. And that's it. And she was impressively destroying it to a point where I was able to clear that floor with a star. To this point, not missing a single star. It was absolutely beautiful. And I mean, at this point, it's almost convinced me to pull a Mavuika because I've been seeing C0 Mavuikas hitting 1 million damage on the all, which is insane. Here I decided to go with Ayaka because obviously she is C6R5, does a lot of damage with her ult, does a lot of damage with Shenhe, and even though Skirk was going to take her in a worst case scenario, I could use her ult to apply cryo to the final enemy, and then I could still kill Skirk or whoever it is that I end up using to do the final damage and kill the enemy. For the select companions here, I decided to go with Xingqiu and Chevreuse because I felt like they were good healers, good buffers, and good sub DPSs, and I could finally have some characters that I could use that I didn't end up having to use my main component DPSs, which I plan to use for the other floors. This floor, super tricky, right? The moment that this guy goes into this form, you have to destroy his Pyro Shield of Hydra application first, then you can damage him. The problem is, you think that you can't hit him with the Nuvolette Beam, but you can. I could have made this 10 times easier with Yalan, using her bow to bring him down, but I was really trying to save Yalan for the later floors. So this took a lot of attempts, but I finally got the one run where I was able to get him down with one burst and skill ult, and then after getting him down to the ground, doing my buffing, basically with just Mona, she was the only one that was buffing here, applying her ult, letting Nuvolette break it with his normal attack or his heavy attack, and then starting to beam him out with his freaking Kamehameha! So, long story short, he's annihilating him right here. I was able to get him down to more than half health, completed, or I should rather say, shred more than half of his health. And then it was pretty easy from this point, just pretty much running through my rotations, trying to build up energy particles for the rest of the team. You make sure I use Mona, so that way she uses her ult, and then I get that damage bonus to destroy. I mean, That easy, super easy. C6 Nouvelette, what can I say? I'm blessed. I saved a long time to make sure this was possible, so I'm reaping the rewards. This one was tough. C6 Ayato, which I felt like I didn't even really need, but I decided to take him, so I just had an extra DPS to clear. Mystery Cache came in clutch here because they actually allowed me to guarantee that I would have companion selection events from this point forward, even though there was only a few floors left, because I wanted to round out my teams to make sure that I had all characters available, so my options weren't limited. Decided to go with Barber there so I can get that Hydro application for the final boss needed so I can buff up Skirk. Decided to opt out of the companion select event there because of the fact that there was only one more character to select, and once I completed this floor I was going to get them automatically, so it felt like I don't need to waste my points. I can use them all on the card reaction buffing at the end, so why would I ever waste it here, right? So this one was pretty freaking simple. Decided to use the Mavuika C2 R1 because I wanted to see her shine, and I mean bam, you can see the big ass numbers going wild, like holy cow, who would have guessed. Anyways, long story short, this is pretty self-explanatory. Like, I'm going to show you the entire thing beginning to end because it happened so fast. But these guys being on floor 9 is a straight diabolical thing because they were so easy to kill. I could not believe it. And the fact that I only had to kill 3 of them, and when I did it, I basically still had like 40 seconds left, was beyond me. Like, if I didn't lose this guy, I would have had him done at 40 seconds already. But long story short, came in here, did a nice boom, and then some charge attacks, and we were able to just knock it out. I mean, look at this grab. You're talking about 30 seconds left, and I just completed it. That was 30 seconds left until the star was done. Like, that's insane. You could tell that she's way too quick with that, cleared it too quickly. It was absolutely insane. So now that I was on the final floor, and I still had 2 charges for all the teammates that I wanted to, being in Skirk, Escoffier, Shenhe, and Farina, I felt like at this point, the only thing that was left to do with my flowers, since I had all my companions already, was to level up as much as I could the Hydro and Cryo reaction, also known as the Frozen reaction, because that was I knew for a fact I was going to be using that since that's the limitations of what Skirk and Escoffier's kit relies on. So I just went all in, dropped all my flowers into leveling it up from level 1, 2, 3, all the way up to like 4, I think is the highest. And once I did that, it was all she wrote. It was time to go in there and do the absolute ultimate damage because this is my strongest team in the entire game by far, bar none, even though she was only C3 here. And I have C6 Nouvelette, C6 Ayato, C6 Ayaka, R5 matter of fact. It did not matter. This is my strongest team by far, and you're about to see why. I did the rotation all out of bits, and it doesn't matter. Look at that. That is insane damage. For a floor 10, and I'm going to beat it in like 15 seconds. I mean, I don't know what else to say. That was almost too easy. The fact that I didn't use any of them until the final floor, that was only the first of 2 charges that I could have used. And I got the star. Like, not only was this perfectly set out for me to like succeed, but this was like a very clean run beginning to end. It took me an hour on the dot for all 10 floors, which usually some of the floors will take 30 to 45 minutes trying to get the perfect run over and over and over again. That didn't happen this time. So this was by far probably one of my easiest and best runs in Imaginarium Theater, and I was so freaking happy that we were able to have such a smooth transition. Plus, not to mention, I was able to use C2 R1 Mavuika for the first time, so that was really nice. I was super excited because I had all my C6s in Ayaka, Nouvelette, Ayato, and then even some of my best built characters like Shenhe, well, yeah, I guess technically Shenhe too, but Skirk, you know, Escoffier. It was just overall super, super, super exciting. I was very, very, very pleased with it. As usual, Imaginarium Theater came through again, and since they started to give us those rewards, I started to clear with full stars because I decided that I actually care. So, hey, it is what it is, right? With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the video here. If you guys like these kind of videos where I go over my Imaginarium Theater run beginning to end, my Abyss run beginning to end, or just in general do any other content, like I've been getting more into live streaming, and I've been doing other, you know, games, like I did all of The Last of Us, I did all of Dead Space, I'm doing all of God of War as we speak right now, and I'm playing all these other games that I'm going to start live streaming for you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on them to let me know what you thought, how you like it, so on and so forth. With that being said, I'm going to end the video right here. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Godman out.